Welcome back, everybody. Today I am back in my 2025 EcoBoost Premium Mustang, and I am a little bit sad, to be honest with you guys, because I just officially hit the 3,000 mile mark on the odometer. So this thing is getting a little bit older, a little bit faster than I really wanted it to. And if this is your first time watching me here on this channel, I purchased this vehicle brand new, the EcoBoost Premium, in the summer of 2025. Right now, when I'm filming this video, we're about a week out from December in 2025. So I've had this vehicle for about 5 or 6 months at this point. So today, what I want to do is give you guys a really in-depth review and everything you guys need to know about an EcoBoost Mustang. So if you're looking to buy brand new in 2025 or even beyond, or maybe even a used EcoBoost, make sure you guys stay tuned until the very end of this video, because it's all going to be really useful information for you guys. And again, keep in mind, I am not sponsored by anybody here today. I purchased this car with my own money, and I am not paid to say good or bad things about the Ford Mustang. This is all based exclusively on my experience. Nobody helped me purchase this car. I bought it myself with my own money. And if you guys have any questions or concerns, make sure you leave them down below in the comments. I will answer you if you are nice and polite. If you're jerky and leave some hate comment, I am going to ignore you because I don't have time for that. So if you actually want me to respond, I will. Just be nice and respectful. Let's get started. Today, I'm going to be breaking up the video into 5 different categories. Starting off with number 5, let's start off with the performance and the feel of this car. So this exact model has the 2.3 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, putting out supposedly 310 to 315 horsepower when using premium gasoline. And I have to say, it's a lot quicker of a car than I honestly thought it was going to be. I really have enjoyed my time driving all 3,000 of these initial miles in this car. A lot of people like to hate on this vehicle and say, oh, it's a 4-cylinder. And I kind of get that argument to some degree, especially because I used to be one of the naysayers about the EcoBoost Mustang. But when I got behind the wheel of this car for the first time, and over the course of driving it 3,000 miles now, I really have no complaints. Is it as fast as the GT? No, but it's still really fun. It's still a quick car. Really can't complain about the performance. The only thing that is not the best is sometimes the turbo lags in this. And keep in mind, in this car, it's still completely factory. I have not modded or done any of that stuff yet, just because I don't want to break anything, and I already paid enough money between you and me to purchase this car in the first place. So everything is still factory. But the turbo does lag a little bit. It's a little bit intermittent though. It doesn't happen all of the time, but sometimes, especially when you put your foot down a little bit harder than normal, it does lag a little bit. But that really only happens maybe about 10% of the time, so it's really not that big of a deal. And you can get aftermarket turbos that kind of reduce that turbo lag effect a little bit. So that's really the only problem I have. As far as the transmission goes, I got the 10-speed automatic transmission in this. Unfortunately, you cannot, geez, it's getting loud out here on the road. Unfortunately, you cannot get the manual transmission in the EcoBoost Mustang anymore, but since this is my daily driver, I wasn't really that worried about it, because for a daily, I want the automatic anyways. For a joyrider, yeah, I'd really like the stick, but not for a daily driver like I have here. So the transmission is great because it helps you get that over 300 horsepower in this car. But to be quite honest, and the 10-speed comes on the GT as well, so this is not a complaint just about the EcoBoost. But 10 speeds is just a little bit too many speeds in my opinion. Again, that's a big reason why this car has so much power with a little 4-cylinder engine. I wish they would kind of limit it to at most 8 gears, because I think that's really about the most you want to put in a transmission. 10 gears is a lot, so I am a little bit worried about the longevity of a 10-speed transmission, and especially if that thing breaks, it's going to be really expensive. Luckily, I'm still under the full factory powertrain warranty for the next 4.5 years since I bought this thing brand new, but it's definitely something to consider when you're looking to purchase your own EcoBoost Mustang potentially. And if you guys have experience with an EcoBoost motor, let me know how many miles you were able to get out of the engine, turbocharger, transmission before you guys really started having problems, because I know it will help a lot of people watching this particular video. So I went on a little bit of a rant there, but overall for number 5, I have no problem with the performance and the feel of this car. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the handling of it. I enjoy the power of it, and just overall, I really love this car. I have an absolute incredible time in this thing. And if you guys are a naysayer about the EcoBoost Mustang like I used to be, go test drive one, give it a shot. And if you give it a shot, worst case scenario, you still don't like it and you don't buy the car. But a lot of people talk a lot of mess about this car without even giving it a chance, is my point. But let's go ahead and move on to number 4, and that's going to be the fuel economy and practicality of this car. So a big deal for me when I was looking at picking up one of these cars was the practicality. Obviously, it's not super practical because you can't really fit anybody in the back, right? But for me, I don't really have kids. If you guys obviously have a family and you want to be driving around a family, this is not going to be your car. But for me and my girlfriend, that's usually who I'm hanging out with. It's just us two doing stuff. This car is really practical, and since I didn't get the GT, I'm saving a good amount of money in gas. So I want to share with you guys the exact gas mileage I'm getting in this car. So overall, I haven't changed it. This is for the full 3,000 miles. I'm getting on average 20 miles per gallon, and I have been driving this thing like a sports car. It's been a lot of stop and go city traffic and stuff, so I would be getting a lot better gas mileage if I was driving this thing mostly highway miles, but I'm mostly driving it city stop and go traffic. So I'm getting about 20, right, in the EcoBoost, but to be honest with you guys, if this was the GT, I'd probably average between 12 and 14 miles per gallon, just based on the type of driving I've been doing in this car and how I've been driving this thing like a sports car. So what I actually did was, before this video, I wanted to get some actual numbers for you guys to really get across the point. How much money am I actually saving with the EcoBoost Mustang as far as getting better gas mileage? So I did a little bit of research, and if any of this is faulty, I was not a math major in college, so correct me down below in the comments. I did use ChatGPT to do a lot of these calculations, so I'm trusting ChatGPT probably a little bit too much for my math figures here. But what I did was, I said, so for every 1,000 miles, if I drive a car and I get 20 miles per gallon, or I drive another car and I get 14 miles per gallon, hope I'm making sense for you guys, and I pay about $3 per gallon for gas, which would be about the average because I've been getting premium and then unleaded over the course of these first 1,000 miles. So for every 1,000 miles, ChatGPT said, if you get 20 miles per gallon in the EcoBoost versus 14 miles per gallon in the GT, you're saving, for every 1,000 miles that you drive in this particular car, $65. And I'll put those calculations right now for you guys. So I'm saving $65,000. I'm saving $65 every 1,000 miles because I'm driving the EcoBoost versus the GT. But this doesn't sound like a whole lot if you only drive it 1,000 miles. But after a while, this adds up to, if I drive this car 100,000 miles at $3 a gallon each, getting about 20 miles per gallon, I'm going to save about $6,500 over the course of 100,000 miles. So, and I'll put those calculations right here so you guys can take a look at them. Again, if anything's faulty, let me know down in the comments, but it seemed like a pretty correct number to me. And keep in mind, Keep in mind, I'm rounding the numbers a little bit, so don't beat up on me too much about that. But over the course of 100,000 miles, I'm saving potentially $6,500. So when I was looking to get into a GT, it was going to be about $10,000 to $15,000 more to get into the GT. So let's just be kind to the GT Mustang and say I was going to save about $10,000 buying the EcoBoost versus the GT. So if I decided, for example, to buy the GT Mustang, that's an extra $10,000 right off the bat. Then if I drive that car 100,000 miles, just based on the gas prices alone, because I'm driving around in a big V8, I'm spending an extra $6,500. So just based on the price of the car and burning more gas, I'm paying an extra $16,500. So to me, that at the end of the day was just not worth the figure. Like if I had to go back and buy the EcoBoost or the GT, I would still get the EcoBoost just because I have so much fun in this car. It's quick, it's fun, and I'm saving a lot of money versus buying the GT. And keep in mind, this car that I'm sitting in right here is only 1 second slower 0 to 60 versus the stock GT. So if that's a big deal for you guys, I mean, by all means, go get the GT. I'm not going to hate on you either way, but I really wanted to find some figures on exactly how much money I'm saving buying the EcoBoost versus the GT. So overall, I'm saving a ton of money, and that's really the big reason why I got the EcoBoost. Obviously, if I wasn't saving any money buying the EcoBoost, I wouldn't have got it, but $16,500 is a lot of money. So I think it's absolutely worth it to me to, instead of spending that extra money on the GT Mustang, I can still get the EcoBoost and use that $16,000 somewhere else, like investing or something. And a lot of GT owners get really mad about that, understandably, because they want to feel like their investment in their GT Mustang was worth it. But I'm telling you guys, I'm happy with the EcoBoost, and at the end of the day, I'm happy I didn't get the GT because it was just too much extra money. So the fuel economy is a little bit better than the GT, obviously. We already talked about that. I'm saving a good amount of money with this. Practicality, because I'm not driving that V8, it makes it a lot more practical. My first vehicle was an old 2007 F-150 with the 5.4 liter V8, and that thing, I was constantly having to pay for gas all the time because that thing just burned so much gas constantly. So this has been a lot better because I'm still getting good power, a fun drive every time I get behind the wheel of this thing without having to pay so much extra for gas. So again, like I always say, if this is going to be your main everyday daily driver, go with the EcoBoost. That would be my best recommendation. But if it's going to be your on the weekend joyrider vehicle, definitely upgrade to the GT and make sure you get the stick shift because it's definitely going to be worth it. But daily driving, the GT to me is just not worth it. Let me know what you guys think below. Let's go ahead and move on to number 3, the reliability and the maintenance. So the first thing I want to talk about is oil changes in this thing, and I want to make a really clear point here. This thing has a turbocharger on it, meaning it's running the engine a lot hotter and a lot harder than it normally would. A lot hotter and a lot harder than it normally would is what I was trying to say there. And that same oil is going to be cooling the hotter engine and an extremely hot turbocharger. So on this car, what I personally recommend, and I'm doing this myself, is get the oil changed a little bit early the first time. I changed the oil the first time in this car at 2,100 miles, and then I'm going to be doing it every 3,000 miles after that. So the next oil change, the second one, is going to be at 5,100 miles, and that's really, really important because the oil is going to break down a lot faster because of the extra heat in the engine and in the turbocharger as well. So you probably have to change the oil in the EcoBoost a little bit more often than you would in the GT. But to be honest, even if I got the GT, I would be changing the oil the first time 2,000 miles, then every 3,000 after that. I would do the same thing either way, but there is a solid argument and a good reason as to why you should change the oil in the EcoBoost a little bit more often than a naturally aspirated engine because of the turbocharger. So, and that goes into the maintenance aspect because it's going to cost you a little bit more to get oil changes and stuff, but if you do it right, you can get an oil change, a full synthetic one, for under $100 in this car, which is not bad at all. I'll leave a link to exactly how I did it and how I got the oil changed in this car for pretty cheap. I'll leave a link up to that video right now at the top and down below in the description. So that's something to keep in mind when you're purchasing this car. And same thing as the GT. So this is not necessarily just about the EcoBoost or just about the GT. It's about both. Both of the engines in the Mustangs have direct injection to get the most amount of power. So the problem with that is if you have a problem with direct injection, especially after the factory warranty is up, it's really expensive to fix that issue. Obviously, no problems in this one because I'm only at 3K and I'm in full factory warranty. But once I'm done with the factory warranty, that's really something to keep in mind. Whether the direct injection is going to hold up, whether the turbocharger is going to go out or not. So that's something to really keep in mind if you're looking to purchase one of these. As for the reliability, this thing has been extremely reliable so far, but obviously I'm only at 3,000 miles. So if this thing broke down in the first 3,000 miles, I probably would have taken it back to the dealership and demanded that they take the car back from me. So no major problems yet, and I have been driving it a little bit hard, but make sure you guys stay tuned because I will definitely let you guys know if I have any major issues going forward into the future. On the 2025 S650 Mustang that I have here, there is a recall for it. I believe there's a module that might get some water in it. So I am going to be taking that into the dealership in the next few weeks, and I'll make sure to take you guys along for that process so you know exactly what that looks like. But other than that small recall, it's not even really that big of an issue, you know, but still got to take it in anyways. No issues, no problems with the reliability. Just on the maintenance, you got to be careful with the turbocharger, the direct injection, and making sure that you get the oil changed in this car a little bit more often than you normally would in a naturally aspirated engine. Moving on to number 2, and to be honest, we already talked about this a little bit, but the cost of ownership. So just to get into this car, I did have to take out about a $15,000 loan, but luckily my monthly payment is only about $250. So it is costing me an extra $250 a month, and I also put $5,000 cash into the deal at the dealership just so I didn't have to finance over $20,000 and I could keep my monthly payment down a little bit. What I'm personally doing is so I can pay off the loan in about 3 years instead of the full 6-year term that I signed up for, or 72 months, is I'm taking my $250 a month, making that payment, but in total every single month I'm paying $400. So I'm paying about $150 extra every single month just to lessen the length of the loan term and to save myself some money in interest. Another big reason why I bought the EcoBoost, because if I got into the GT, the base payment for 72 months would have been between probably about $400 to $500. But in this one, it's $250. I can pay $400 quite easily and pay off this loan really quick so I can own this car. So for me, that's absolutely worth it. For me personally, I don't know about you guys, you do whatever you want, I don't care, but I like to own my stuff and I don't like to have a forever loan. I like to sign up for the longest loan term possible and then put extra money into it so I can pay it down quicker and own my car and my stuff a little bit faster. So since I got into this, it was overall a lot cheaper, and it's making it possible for me to pay down the loan a lot quicker than I would be able to if I bought the GT Mustang. And it is costing me a little bit more for gas, right? But for the fun and the enjoyment I'm getting out of it and the experience in my life as a younger man still, I think it's absolutely worth it. What I didn't want to do is be the old man, or let me start again on that. What I didn't want to do is wait so long in my life and be so practical and so conservative financially that I never really pushed a little bit and got the car I really wanted. And then I'm sitting there one day and I'm a 50, 55, 60-year-old man. And I never drove a car I really wanted when I was in my 20s, because I'm in my 20s now. So to me, that was more important than paying a little bit extra money. As long as me paying a little extra money, I was getting a good experience out of it and I wasn't stretching myself too far. So I could easily make, 5-6 times the $250 a month car payment on the money that I make from my full-time job and stuff. But I wanted to leave a large gap so I still have money to invest, save, and everything. So what I'm saying here, guys, is that I think this is really important because a lot of people don't think about this when they buy a car. But buy something you really enjoy, but don't overstretch yourself, because if you do, like if I bought a GT Premium Mustang, I would have just overstretched myself, and instead of me having a good time in that car, I would have just been stressed out because I would have felt like I just spent too much money and I wouldn't have been able to invest and really save as much as I would like to. So again, buy the car that you really like, but be reasonable about it. Don't strangle yourself financially because you think, oh, I need a GT Mustang, or oh, I need a truck, or oh, whatever car. That's a big reason why I bought this. And I think that goes into the cost of ownership really well, because it's costing me a little bit, but it's not hurting me in any other area of my life, like saving, investing, going out to dinner with my girlfriend, and doing the other stuff in life I want to do. So I can own this car, enjoy this car, and not be so stressed out about how much I'm paying for it, because I still have plenty of money left over after the car payment on this thing every single month. So overall, I paid more money for the car because I already had a paid off car, paying more for the gas than I was in my Mitsubishi Outlander. So the cost of ownership is obviously going to be more than if you go out and get like a Toyota Camry, a Mitsubishi Outlander like I used to have, or any other cheaper, naturally aspirated engine that you could get out there in another car. So that's something to really keep in mind and really think about when you're looking to purchase this vehicle. Really think to yourself personally, is it worth it? Is it worth the money? Or am I just going to get bored? Am I not really going to enjoy it? Is my money spent better somewhere else? Again, something I think everybody out there should keep in mind, because that's definitely something I was thinking about when I purchased this vehicle. Now let's be done with all that boring stuff. Number one is going to be the fun factor and overall verdict. So first, I want to touch on some of the stuff that I didn't talk about already earlier in the video. So when I first started looking, I really started looking at the base EcoBoost. Or the base EcoBoost, I mean to say. But I just decided that I wanted all the extra features like the leather seats, the heated and cooled seats, the heated steering wheel, the upgraded sound system, and this particular premium also came with upgraded all aluminum rims and Ford Co-Pilot Assist Plus from the factory. So I just decided if I was going to do it, I don't want to settle for the base because I know I'm going to regret not getting the premium. Like, to me, it was, a lot of people disagree with this, but to me, it was way more important for me to get the premium EcoBoost or GT than it was to get the EcoBoost or GT, if that makes sense. So I didn't care if it was the EcoBoost or the GT. I just really wanted the premium because I always wanted the all leather interior, the remote start, and all the other features that it comes with. That was really way more important to me personally rather than the engine. So that's why I decided to get the premium EcoBoost. I paid $36,300 for this one. For comparison, if I wanted to get a brand new GT Premium, I would be pushing $50,000, and that was just too much money for my liking. So that's a big reason why I bought this one, to be quite honest. But I talk about that because that goes into the overall verdict a little bit, because I think it was worth for me to stretch a little bit to get the premium EcoBoost, but getting the premium GT just wouldn't be worth it to me. $50,000 is just too much for a vehicle, to be quite honest, that the end of the day is not for work. It's not like I'm buying a work truck or something to make money. I'm just buying a daily driver. But again, the fun factor, we already talked about this a little bit, but this car is a ton of fun to drive. Really no complaints. And honestly, with the amount of power that this thing has, you can actually lose control in wet and rainy conditions pretty easily. So I couldn't even imagine driving around the GT in the rain, because that thing would be quite dangerous. Lucky in this one, you have all the different driving modes. You can always put it in slippery mode, for example, if you're driving in the rain, which basically just makes your car slower. It does help a lot in the rain, so if you buy one of these, make sure you test out the different modes, the sport, normal, track mode, slippery mode. Make sure you try everything out, because the driving modes actually make a really big difference. So no complaints with this car. I've had a ton of fun in this thing. If you guys are a hater, maybe you haven't test driven one of these cars before, go test drive one. Worst case scenario, you'll go and test drive it and say, I don't like it personally, and you won't buy it. But if you go test drive it, you might actually be surprised a little bit. Did my best to hit really everything that comes to mind when I think about my EcoBoost Mustang and how my experience has been in this car. But if you guys have any questions or concerns, as always, leave your questions down below in the comments and I will respond to you guys. Again, remember, I am not sponsored or anything here today. This is just my own words based on my own experience. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in another one soon.